So our lesson 1.2 for art appreciation is creativity, imagination, and expression. So according to the famous French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre of the 20th century, he described the world of art as a creative work that depicts the world in a completely different light and perspective. And the source is due to human freedom. So each artwork beholds beauty of its own kind, the kind that artist sees and wants the viewers to perceive. People are usually blind to this beauty, and only those who have developed a fine sense of appreciation can experience art or can see art the same way the artist did. So these are the role of creativity and art making. Creativity requires thinking outside the box. In art, creativity is what sets apart one artwork from another. A creative artist does not simply copy or imitate another artist's work. So being creative nowadays can be quite challenging. What you thought was your own unique and creative idea may not what it seems to be after extensive research. For example, the campaign ad is more fun in the Philippines to use by the Department of Tourism. I know most of us were familiar with this promotion of Department of Tourism. It boomed popularity in 2011, but later it was found out that it was plagiarized or allegedly plagiarized from Switzerland's promotion also. It's more fun in Switzerland. Thus, creativity should be backed with careful research on related art to avoid this kind of conflicts or allegations. For you to have your own unique and creative idea. Okay, so art as a product of imagination. Imagination as a product of art. Where do you think famous writers, painters, and musicians get their ideas? Where do ideas in making creative solutions begin? Well, it all starts in the humankind. It all begins with imagination. That is why we have this quote: "Imagination is the best creation." So people plus curiosity plus imagination is equals to advancement. Through imagination, one is able to craft something bold, something new, and something better in the hopes of creating something that will stimulate change. So, imagination allows endless possibilities. What do we mean by that? Well, imagination is not constrained by the walls of the norm, but goes beyond that. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and there ever will be to know and understand." Next is In the Eyes of Robin George Collingwood, an English philosopher who is best known for his work in aesthetics explicated in his publication, The Principles of Art. So, for Collingwood, art is an expression. Through expression, he is able to explore his own emotions and at the same time create something beautiful out of them. He further illustrated that expressing emotions is something different from describing emotions. So basic example for us to understand this quote or the say of Collingwood. Example, you said you are happy, but when we look in your eyes, when we look to your eyes, it can't tell that you are truly happy. Okay, this description actually destroys the idea of expression as it classifies the emotion, making it ordinary and predictable. So there are countless ways of expressing oneself through art. First, we have the visual arts. The creations that fall under this category are those that appeal to the sense of sight and are mainly visual in nature. Artists produce visual arts driven by their desire to reproduce things that they have seen in the way that they perceive them. Some mediums of visual arts include paintings, drawings, letterings, printing, sculptures, digital imaging, and more. So, visual arts basically anything that can appeal or catch our attention visually. So, these are visual arts. To film, it refers to the art of putting together successions of still images in order to create an illusion or movement. Filmmaking focuses on its aesthetic, cultural, and social value and considered as both an art and an industry. Films can be created by using one or a combination of some or all of these techniques. First techniques is the motion picture camera. It is also known as movie camera. Next is the animation techniques. And of course, the computer generated imagery or all the images. So it stimulates experiences or creates one that is beyond the scope of our imagination, as it aims to deliver ideas, feelings, or beauty to its viewers. We all know that when we are watching movies or films, we we felt um, emotions that the film wants us to feel. It delivers ideas, feelings, and beauty to us being the audience or the viewers of one particular movie. So it is the art of filmmaking. It is so complex. It has to take into account many important elements such as lighting, musical score, visual effects, direction, and more. So that is why in famous film festivals and awards such as the Metro Manila Film Festival and Oscars, a long list of categories is considered to recognize excellence in the art of filmmaking. So the performance arts. It is live art and the artist medium is mainly the human body which he or she uses to perform but also employs other kind of art such as virtual art, props, or sound. So it usually consists of four important elements. First is the time. When will you going to perform that dance? Where are you going to perform that let's say poetry? It's live performance. Okay. So next is the location where the performance took place. And third is the performers or performers body with their choreography, the way they move, the way they flick their hair, everything about the performer's body. How they paint their body or how they danced gracefully. So everything about the performer's body. Next is the relationship between the audience and the performers. For it to be considered as an excellent performance, there must be a relationship between the audience and the performers. The performance itself must catch the attentions of its viewers or audience. The fact that performance art is live makes it intangible. Intangibles in a way that it cannot be bought or traded as a commodity, unlike the previously discussed art expressions, for example, painting, jewelry. Next is the poetry performance. It is an art form where the artist expressed his emotions not by using paint, charcoal, or camera, but the artist can express them through words. These words are carefully selected to exhibit clarity and beauty and to stimulate strong emotions of joy, anger, love, sorrow, and other emotions. It uses a word's emotional, musical, and spatial values that go beyond its literal meaning to narrate, emphasize, argue, or convince. These words, combined with movements, tone, volume, and intensity of the delivery, add to the artistic value of the poem. Some poets even make poems out of their emotions, pick up from other works of art, which in turn produce another work of art through poetry. So, poetry writing allows one to express themselves through the written word. This is a great way to release pent up emotion. It is their way to exercise creativity as well, and also share their thoughts and ideas with other people. Spoken poetry, which one can freely express and release emotion through words. Next, we have architecture. It is the pursuit of creation of beautiful things, while architecture is the making of beautiful buildings. However, not all buildings are beautiful. Some buildings only embody the functionality they need, but the structure, lines, forms, and colors are not beautifully expressed. So, thus, not all buildings can be considered as architecture. So, buildings should embody three important elements from the planning, construction, and design if they wish to merit the title architecture. Next is dance. I'm sure most of you, this is your way to express yourself. So dance, it is a series of movements that follows the rhythm of the music accompaniment. It has been an age-old debate whether dance can really be considered as an art form. Here we primarily describe dance as a form of expression, a creative form that allows people to freely express themselves. It has no rules. But when it comes to choreography, it does not allow this because with choreography, dancers are following certain rules and instructions. But when it comes to art, dancers are not confined to set steps and rules but are free to create and invent their own movements as long as they deem them graceful and beautiful. A goal in itself and a means of allowing a human being to express his inner feelings, thoughts, and experiences. Dance can be described as a natural form of self expression. The body expresses itself naturally, and so therefore does the spirit. Literary art. Artists who practice literary arts use words, not paint, not musical instruments or chisels to express themselves and communicate emotions to the readers. However, it's simply becoming a writer does not make one a literary artist. Simply constructing a succession of sentences in a meaningful matter is not literary art. Literary art goes beyond the usual profession, academic, journalistic, and other technical forms of writing. It focuses on writing using a unique style, not following a specific format or norm. It may include both fiction and nonfiction, such as novels, biographies, and poems. Examples of famous literary artists and their works include The Little Prince by Anthony de Saint-Exupéry and Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. So this is the famous literary art. Next we have the theater. Theater uses live performers to represent accounts or imaginary events before a live audience. Theater art performances usually follow a script, though they should not be confused with literary arts, because in literary arts, um, they follow a script or but it is only in a written words. But when it comes to theater, they have a script, but they should perform it live. Much like in filmmaking, theater also considers several elements, and these are acting, gesture, the lighting, the sound effects, the musical score, scenery, and of course, all of the props. So the combination of these elements is what gives the strongest impression on the audience, and the script thus becomes a minor element. The combination of these elements is um, the strongest, as I said, impression on the audience, and the script thus become a minor element. For example, the live performance art. Since theater is also a live performance, the participation of the viewer is an important element in theater arts. Some genres of theater include drama, musical, tragedy, comedy, and improvisation. Last is the applied arts. It is incorporating elements of style and design to everyday items with the aim of increasing their aesthetical values. Artists in this field bring beauty, charm, and comfort into many things that are useful in everyday life. So, all the arts that applying design and decoration to everyday and essentially practical objects in order to make them aesthetically pleasing is an applied art. For example, industrial design, interior designing, fashion design, and graphic design are all considered as applied arts. It is often compared to fine arts, where the latter is chiefly concerned on aesthetic values. Through exploration and expression of ideas, consideration of the needs, and careful choice of materials and techniques, artists can combine functionality and style. So there, you already know. Um, the elements of an art. So again, ways to express oneself through art, first is through visual arts, through film, through performance arts, poetry performance, architecture, dance, literary art, theater, and of course, applied arts. Thank you, everyone.